bobbins back then because the way the I used to be in Maine, remember? Where CVS was behind there.
Okay, I got it.
I think so. I was just gonna try to see if this Superman issue is like one of those things where they grade it to see if it's worth.
Can't imagine it would be. Hold on one moment. So full disclosure, I am not the owner and proprietor of this shop, and he's the only one who actually buys anything and like sets prices for anything that's incoming from the public.
Okay.
Whatever I give you as far as an appraisal, hobby enthusiast, not the professional representation of what the shop would offer.
Okay.
Okay. Just trying to cover my own butt.
Yeah.
If I may. Thank you. I mean, it's from a good era.
Mm.
It looks to be from about what, 70s, early 80s, something like that.
Between 70s and 80s.
Nice. The book itself, All Star Comics, there are maybe like 20 or so issues that are of merit and like key issues and what people are looking for. This doesn't immediately ping in my head as being like something that's super sought after as far as a collection goes. Now, with that in mind, there are still collectors out there who are looking to flesh out a full collection of basically anything. I mean, if you go and talk to any random collector, they could tell you any one of these books and say, oh yeah, I'm looking to flesh that out. I'm looking to complete it. So to somebody out there, I'm sure there's somebody who's looking for this specific book.
Okay.
Let me just do a real quick update. How's the baby treating you so far?
That's good.
Nice. I like to hear that. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. Late 70s, 1976, 78. Issue is 64.
Like medieval times, faster.
I mean, you know, it's not the cheap. It's not like just a random back issue or anything like that. It does have a little bit of merit and value.
Okay.
However, it's not anything that's too crazy. So at a 9.4, are you familiar with the grading process?
I thought it was at one point in time. I had
Sure.
comments.
Real quick movement for grading. CGC will take a book, it's the official appraisal judgment for an entire book's worth and everything like that, and they'll slab it at anywhere between a 1 and 10 value.
Okay.
A 9.8 is feasibly the highest grade that you can possibly get, because 10s don't exist. That's like straight off the conveyor belt, right into a slab. Like it's not something that really happens. But 9.8 is typically the standard. The site that I use grades everything at about a 9.4, keeping it in and that's all graded pricing, slabbed, appraised, judged at that pricing. So all of these books have established value and worth because of the grading that's attached to them. In theory, with this book, were it slabbed, were it graded, were it appraised at a 9.4, the most amount of cash that it would be worth in any sort of setting is a little less than 50 bucks. When you consider that, like, a lot of the issues on my wall over here, everything that's coming out new, well, I mean, these guys are outliers, I would say. Like, these are, like, first runs of Spider-Mans, that's first Marvel Zombies. These two are more so in line of what we're talking about, but they're
modern day setting,
newer
stuff.
Most certainly.
The time for,
but
other stuff.
For sure. And these guys on the outlier, they're, I mean, newer and still retain value, mostly because signatures or variants or some other external factor that doesn't actually have to do with the story or with, like, the contents of the book. That book in question, graded at a 9.4, comes in at about 45 bucks. It's in the raw, so we immediately cut that in half.
Can you ask if you have Sega comics, like anything based off of old Sega like properties, like Archie?
Yeah, Sonic comics are famously, I mean, they've been around for a minute. They're also from the Archie line. But I do not have anything presently in. Every time I get anything, it immediately sells.
I was asking because I could have traded that for like maybe like a couple of them.
You could have if the owner were in the shop. I'm not allowed to.
I didn't understand.
No, for sure. This is me. I'm trying to make sure I'm being as transparent as possible. I mean. And
what about the Transformer comics? You would like they have those as well? They're like in between. Okay.
I mean, I've got lower price Transformer comics. I think anyway. We'll see. I have to show you back issues or whatnot. But it's in the raw, so immediately cut that in half. And then for all these little crimps in the corners and on the spine, staples, any sort of folds, discolorization, anything like that.
There's like closets, so they can't really like. Be like it wasn't in direct sunlight, but it was covered with
completely with most certainly. And I'm not seeing like an amount of discolorization. This book has existed for
a long time,
50 years now at this point. So I mean, any state that it's in that you can read it in and flip through, that's a win. But as far as like our own collection goes, what it is we would be looking for as far as the books that come in from the public, that all factors into what we would pay out for. So even this graded at like a 9.4 coming in at $50, half that coming in at $20, doesn't necessarily indicate or represent what we would offer, because hell, I might have 4 of these. Hell, we might not have anybody who's interested in them or anything to that degree. The old adage goes that a comic book is worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. Somebody on record has paid for this book at that price point. So that's sort of the minimum you can go off of for the basis of that. But that's, I mean, graded and slabbed in the
Do you sell video games as well?
I do not. I wish I did, but unfortunately I do not. But that would be my 2 cents on that. As far as Transformers go, I've got that out. Okay. That's all going to be right in there.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
No worries, though, bro. If you think of anything else, you can let me know.
Okay. These go from $2 minimum on the.
Yeah, if there's any book out there that's like a little bit older from the 80s, or anything that's like debagged and deboarded that says like $1.25, bare minimum of what we put at the top.
This one was. Let's see this one.
Yeah, that's IDW. That must have come out in like the past 5 years or so. So this is a variant cover. Any and all typical covers are known as cover A or the standard. This is cover B, which means it's an alternate cover to a book that came out.
Is it republished?
Different art.
Okay.
Same contents, different cover. So the two on the end that I pointed, the Rogue and the Black Panther, those aren't the standard covers for those copies. They're they're more sought after. Sometimes variants will run in like for every one for every 25 that's printed, they'll print one of this variant. For every 100 of this copy, they'll print like one of this variant, and so on and so forth, which adds to the rarity to them. B covers aren't typically like super in small demand because with books nowadays they'll offer at least like one alternate cover, but even still, like, you got good taste. That's a solid cover all in all. $3.99 for this guy.
Okay.
That's gonna be $4.35. Please and thank you.
Thank you.
I like your glasses, by the way.
Oh,
I've been looking for new frames recently. I'm trying to keep my eye out for good glasses. Do you want a bag for today, Captain?
Yes, please.
I got you.
I didn't know the call to where if I called, it could have been like where I could like have the book, like degraded. And...
Yeah, there's a whole service for it, but for something like that, the money that you'd sink into it wouldn't accurately represent the book cost. You'd probably, like that Rogue, for instance, he probably paid just as much money to get it slabbed, graded, and appraised at that as for what he's trying to sell it for.
Oh, wow.
And we bought that from the public, so I don't know what the guy was thinking. I don't know what he was hoping to get out of it. I do have a $10 minimum for any and all sort of card purchases. I can charge you the dollar it would charge us, or alternatively, if you'd like to take another look around.
You want something else?
How much more would you get?
$10. So a $4.99 book should cover it.
This one's 3, so the tax.
Should be. Ideally, let's check it out. Let me figure out how to type. Here we go.
Oh, that's
$7.90
yeah,
for
that's what I
today.
thought. Maybe another one. Next time I'll be going home with that.
For sure, most certainly. It is what it is. We'll be moving away from We've actually been at this location for a year or so. We used to be over at 95 now.
Yeah, because he used to go over there to the one on 95th and
Nice.
Mall.
It was a nice little set. I like this one a little bit more. That's gonna be $11.44.
Yeah. It's bigger here.
Most certainly, a little more in the way of link.
Yeah.
I have something for you to sign in just a moment.
Okay.
This is for you.
It's half again the square footage, but it just feels more open.
Yeah.
Cause, and also there's more light coming in, you know,
The
lighting up the
place
place.
was-
The other place, light could come in at certain times of certain days, but a lot of times it felt like a dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I say. The dungeon we used to be in, anybody who was there laughs at that.
My dear, if I can get you to sign right there for me. I have this here for you. Captain, I hope that was helpful. If ever you need anything in the future, we are here.
Okay.
Thank you there,
Thank
my dear.
you.
Not a problem. You guys have yourself an excellent day.
Okay, you too. Aren't you now?
You already ate, so.
Yeah. Looking finished up?
I want to go to bed.
Huh? Scott?
I don't want to go in Van
You
Scott.
don't want to go there?
No.